I woke up in DR. Harlan that morning, her manicured nails digging into the steering wheel of a Lexus that wasn't mine. The radio blaring some godforsaken NPR segment on gratitude while ball rose in my throat. Gratitude for what?
Exactly?
The family who drugged my wine at last Christmas and let the cops haul me away for embezzlement I never touched? Or the way they'd whispered Crazy Eva like it was my middle name, sealing my fate in a psych ward where the walls whispered back. But today, November 27th, 2025, in this stolen body, I was crashing their pity party with a scalpel-sharp smile, ready to carve out the truth they'd buried deeper than Grandma's ashes. You think betrayal stings? Try wearing someone else's regrets like a too-tight sweater. Every itch a reminder that your own life's been auctioned off to the highest bidder, mine to a silver-tongued brother who'd pawned my dreams for his corner office, and a mother who'd rather medicate the messenger than face the monster she'd raised. As I adjusted the rearview mirror, staring into hazel eyes that weren't haunted by my ghosts, I felt the first real thrill. Revenge wasn't just sweet, it was the only meal worth serving cold. And oh, the irony, they thought they were saving me with this intervention. Flyers printed and tissues stocked, blind to the fact that the therapist they'd hired to fix their broken doll was me, puppeteering her strings, about to unravel the whole damn family tapestry thread by bloody thread. The drive to Willow Creek Estates felt like threading a needle through fog-thick, Midwestern November mist that clung to the windshield like the lies I'd choked down for years.
DR.
Elena Harlan's body was a far cry from my own, lean where I was curved, poised where I was frayed, her yoga-toned limbs moving with an efficiency that made me want to scream. I'd always envied that clinical detachment, the way she'd nod through my sessions like she gave a damn, scribbling notes on how my delusions about the family fortune were just paranoia from unresolved trauma. Trauma? Lady, you have no idea. It started 2 years back, in the fluorescent hell of our Chicago high-rise. Dad's construction empire was crumbling under bad loans and worse decisions, his, mostly, fueled by bourbon and that god complex that built half the Loop's skyline. I was the fixer, the one crunching numbers late into the night, rerouting funds from shell accounts to keep the wolves at bay. Eva's got it, he'd slur, clapping my shoulder like I was one of the boys. But then Marcus, my golden boy brother, with his Ivy League polish and that smirk that could sell ice to Eskimos, saw an angle. He needed seed money for his disruptive tech startup, something about AI ethics consulting. Ironic as hell now that I'm jacked into someone else's neural net.
He didn't ask. He took.
Siphoned a cool $2 million through my login, backdated the approvals, and pinned it on me when the auditors came calling. Eva's been erratic, he told the board, voice dripping sympathy. The stress.
You know,
She's always been sensitive. Sensitive. That's code for hysterical woman in boardrooms from New York to LA.
Mom.
Ever the enabler. Backed him up with a cocktail of Valium and concerned calls to my doctor. By the time the feds raided our loft, I was already half sedated, fingerprints on the keyboard that wasn't mine. The trial was a circus. Marcus testified in a suit that cost more than my defense fund, eyes brimming with crocodile tears. She's my sister, Your Honor. I just want her help. The jury ate it up. White-collar crime needs a villain. And who better than the unmarried 32-year-old with no kids to humanize her? I got 18 months in federal lockup, plus 5 years probation. My CPA license shredded like confetti at a funeral. Out on good behavior after 12, I washed up in a halfway house, scraping by on gig economy scraps, while Marcus's startup ballooned to unicorn status, featured in Forbes as the ethical AI savior. That's when Dr. Harlan entered the picture. Court-mandated therapy, twice a week in her Gold Coast office, all leather chairs and abstract art that screamed, "I charge $300 an hour to listen to your sob story." She was good, too good. Probing with questions that peeled back layers I didn't know I had, until one session. After I'd ranted about Marcus's latest TED Talk on trust and algorithms, she leaned forward, eyes narrowing.
Eva.
What if it's not paranoia? What if there's a way to recalibrate? Recalibrate. That's what she called it. Some black market neural interface she'd been tinkering with, experimental, off books, funded by shadowy pharma grants. Mind mapping, she said, to sync perspectives. Help you see from their side. Foster empathy. Bullshit. It was a body swap rig. Jury-rigged from DARPA scraps and desperation. She needed a test subject for her dissertation on dissociative identity. And I needed a lifeline. One injection. A humming machine that smelled like ozone and regret. And boom, consciousness transfer. I blacked out in her chair, woke up staring at my own slack face, drooling on the leather. Panic hit like a freight train. But then clarity, her memories flooded in, fragmented but potent. Her crumbling marriage to a Wall Street prick, her tenure denial at Northwestern, the pills she'd popped to keep the facade cracking free. And buried deep, a secret that made my stolen heart race, she'd known about Marcus. Treated him too, 6 months back, when his guilt over me kept him up at night. He'd confessed the frame job in session, off record, and she'd signed an NDA faster than you can say, therapeutic confidentiality. In return, a fat consulting gig for his firm. Betrayal on betrayal, layered like a 7-layer dip of deceit. I could have reversed it right then, flipped the switch, slid back into my skin. But as I watched my body twitch under the residual current, a cold resolve settled in.
No.
This was leverage. Her life was a skeleton key, access to their inner circle. The family group chats pinging with concern over poor Eva's relapse, the holiday invites she'd been dodging.
And today?
The intervention. Mom's masterstroke. Roping in aunts, uncles, even cousin Jerry from Milwaukee. All to stage my rock bottom. They'd lured me, the real me, comatose in her office, with a fake crisis call about Dad's heart scare. But Dr. Harlan me now had been invited as the neutral expert. Her fee wired that morning. The GPS chimed, 5 minutes to the old homestead in Naperville. That McMansion with the 3-car garage and the flagpole that flew Old Glory year-round. I parked curbside, smoothed her pencil skirt, mine now, and grabbed the leather satchel stuffed with intervention materials, pamphlets on addiction, a journal for affirmations, and, tucked in the zippered pocket, a USB drive with Marcus's session tapes. The rain had picked up, drumming on the umbrella like impatient fingers. I took a breath that smelled of her peppermint latte, not my cheap diner coffee, and stepped into the storm. The front door swung open before I knocked. Aunt Lydia, all floral blouse and peroxide curls, eyes wide with that mix of pity and performance.
Dr.
Harlan.
Oh.
Thank God you're here.
It's
bad. Eva's inside, barricaded in the den with a bottle. We tried talking, but you know how she gets. Her voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper, as if I weren't the one who'd gotten that way. I nodded, channeling Elena's serene bob, murmuring, "Let's assess calmly. Lydia. Family dynamics can escalate quickly."
inside.
The air was thick with turkey brine and tension. The living room sprawled like a stage set for a Norman Rockwell nightmare, crystal vases of autumn leaves. A sideboard groaning under deviled eggs and cranberry relish. The massive sectional sofa arranged in a semicircle like jury bleachers. And there, in the corner armchair I'd claimed as a kid during Dad's rages, slumped me, my body, pale and puppet limp from the trink I'd dosed her with pre-swap. Tubes?
No.
Just a subtle drip hidden under a throw blanket, saline to keep the shell breathing. Marcus hovered nearby, phone in hand, probably texting his crisis PR guy. Mom spotted me first, dabbing her eyes with a monogrammed hanky. Doctor, we can't thank you enough. When Marcus suggested this.
Well,
After the arrest, we knew she needed more than prayers.
arrest.
As if it were shoplifting gum, not a felony that gutted my soul. Dad grunted from his lazy boy, nursing a highball, his face a roadmap of bourbon lines. Damn girl's always been headstrong. Like her mother. I slid into the empty wingback by the fireplace, crossing Elena's legs with practiced grace. Mrs. Kensington. Mr. Kensington. Let's start with why we're here. Eva's shown signs of destabilization. I let the word hang, watching them squirm. Marcus stepped forward, all earnest concern, kneeling by my side like a penitent. She's been spiraling. Doc. Texts at 3 a.m. about conspiracies. Showing up at my office ranting. We love her.
But
We can't watch her destroy herself. Destroy herself. The irony coiled in my gut like barbed wire. If only they knew the destruction I'd endured. The nights in county jail. The whispers of snitch from bunkmates who'd heard the family name. The way my reflection in the mirrored visiting glass looked like a stranger even then. But this body? It was armor. Elena's credentials opened doors mine never could. Her soft-spoken authority a velvet glove over the iron fist I itched to swing. As the family filed in, uncles with beer guts, cousins with iPads for support notes, I scanned a room, mapping exits and alibis. The plan was simple: play the therapist, draw out confessions under the guise of healing dialogue, then drop the bomb with the tapes. But simplicity's a lie in revenge. It's always messier, bloodier in the soul, if not the flesh. Lydia lit the Advent candles early, Thanksgiving sacrilege, and we bowed heads for grace. Mom's voice quavering over gratitude for second chances. Amen. I thought, my stolen lips curving. Your second chance ends tonight. The circle tightened. Dad went first. Voice gravel. Eva. Honey, we've all made mistakes. But stealing? From your own blood? It's not you. Not me.
exactly.
Marcus nodded sagely. Cease. Rehab's not failure, it's reset. Like my app, his app. The one that ethically mined user data for profit, much like he'd mined my trust. I leaned forward, Elena's voice a soothing lilt.
Eva.
If you're ready to share. My body stirred, pre-programmed twitch from the drip, and a mumble escaped. They. Framed.
Me.
Gasps rippled.
Perfect.
But then Mom's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check the den camera.
Now.
Her face drained. Mine? It burned with questions. Who the hell was watching? The intervention teetered on that mumble like a Jenga tower, one pull from collapse. Eyes darted to me, to Eva, to Mom's phone clutched like a grenade. She fumbled it open, color fleeing her Botox-smooth cheeks.
It's
Nothing. Spam.
Lie.
I could smell it, sharp as the pine from the over-decorated mantel. Marcus shot her a look, the kind siblings share when parents unravel. But he recovered quick. Ever the fixer. Doc. Maybe we circle back. Eva. Remember that summer at the lake? When you saved me from drowning. We owe you. Save the anecdotes. Marcus. I cut in. Elena's tone sharpening just enough to command. This is about accountability. Not nostalgia. The room hushed. A collective inhale. Good. Let them feel the noose tightening. I'd scripted this in her office, mirror last night, practicing inflections until the reflection smirked back, not Elena's cool professional, but mine, feral and focused. We went round the horn, Aunt Lydia on enabling patterns, Uncle Ray grumbling about kids these days and handouts, Cousin Jerry droning stats from some AA pamphlet he'd Googled. Each word a brick in the wall they'd built around my guilt, mortared with denial. My turn came last as Eva, of course. I prompted the body again, a subtle toe tap on the four-pedal, and it rasped.
Lies.
All lies. Marcus took it. Chaos erupted. Marcus bolted up, face thunderous. That's not fair. I covered for you. The late nights. The meetings that were just bar tabs. Bar tabs. Projection much? I'd been dry since the halfway house. Clawing sobriety from NA meetings in church basements that reeked of stale coffee and despair. But he'd twisted it. Fed the narrative that I was the lush. The loose end. Mom intervened. Voice shrill. Enough. Doctor. Tell us, what to do. Her eyes pleaded. The same ones that had stared through me, at sentencing. Whispering, it'll be okay. Baby, while signing over my trust fund to family needs. I met that gaze. Elena's hazel locking on blue. And felt a surge, not her empathy. My rage. Electric as the swap machines hum. What to do? I echoed. Rising slow, commanding the space like a preacher at a revival. First, truth. Eva claims sabotage. Marcus. Has there ever been irregularity in the accounts? I dangled it casual, but his Adam's apple bobbed like a fishing lure. The family leaned in, a tableau of anticipation, the turkey congealing forgotten on the sideboard. He laughed, too loud, too rehearsed. Irregular? Sis, you were the queen of creative accounting. Remember Dubai? That consulting fee, that was really... Stop. Dad's bark cut the air. Glass slamming down. Not now.
Son.
But the seed was planted. Doubt sprouting in Lydia's frown. Jerry's fidget. I pressed, gentle as a scalpel. Family secrets fester. Mr.
Kensington.
Perhaps a private word, nodding to the den, where me slumped oblivious. Marcus followed, shoulders squared for battle. The den was Dad's sanctum, walnut paneling, a minibar stocked with Macallan, photos of us kids in Little League jerseys before the fractures. I closed the door soft, flipping the USB in my palm like a coin. Your sessions with Dr. Harlan, I said, voice dropping. She mentioned a confession? His eyes narrowed, charm cracking. What you hacked her files? That's illegal.
Eva.
Even for you.
For me.
As if this shell made me the intruder. I slotted the drive into his laptop on the desk. Elena's notes had the passcode, his wedding date. Because of course he'd marry for optics, not love. The audio crackled to life. His voice. tinny and tense. It was easy. Doc. Eva's codes. Her blind trust.
2 mil to bootstrap.
And boom, unicorn. Guilt?
Sure.
But family's family.
Right?
She'll get over it. Laughter. Self-deprecating. Or not. Either way, the NDA holds. He lunged for the power button. But I was faster. Elena's reflexes honed by hot yoga, pinning his wrist with surprising strength. Family's family, I hissed, inches from his face. Except when it's collateral. Shock bloomed, then recognition?
No.
Just fury. You're not. Holy shit.
Elena?
What the fuck is this? He wrenched free, backing toward the bookshelf, knocking a bust of Churchill Askew. Smart boy. He'd pieced the swap from the eyes. The poise that wasn't mine. You crazy bitch.
This is kidnapping.
Assault. I'll bury you both. Try it. I stepped closer. Voice of venomous purr. Call the cops. Explain why your sister's body is catatonic in a therapist's office. Or why your board's about to get an anonymous drop of these files. Bluff. I had no network yet. But desperation's a hell of a motivator. He froze, calculating odds. The startup bro brain whirring like his servers.
Outside.
Voices rose, mom's wail. Dad's bellow. The text. That damn text. Who's your mole? Marcus? Someone feeding you play-by-plays? He sneered.
Mole? Please.
That's your paranoia talking. Or hers.
Hers.
Elena's. But as he spoke, his phone lit, same unknown number. She's bluffing.
Stall.
My blood iced. Someone was in this with him. Not mom, too fragile. Dad, possible. But he'd always played king, not pawn. I yanked the drive, storming back to the living room. The circle had devolved. Eva thrashing weakly, Lydia fanning her with a napkin, Jerry filming for evidence. Everyone, pause, I commanded. Elena's authority a whip crack. Marcus has something to say. He emerged, pale but composed, script rewritten on the fly.
She's right. I
fudged some numbers. To help.
Eva.
It got out of hand. Murmurs swelled, outrage.
Tears.
Mom collapsed into Dad's arms, sobbing why? Why? Dad's face purpled, vein throbbing. You little shit. After everything? It was beautiful. That fracture, cracks spiderwebbing the facade. But as Marcus knelt by me, whispering I'm sorry, sis, his eyes flicked to the window. A shadow there? No. Just rain-lashed pains. Paranoia. He called it. Maybe. Or maybe the swap had glitches. Elena's doubts bleeding into mine. We processed for an hour, hugs doled like rations, promises scrawled on that journal. I guided it all, planting seeds, boundaries. Evelyn. Legal recourse if needed. By pie time. The air thinned. Gratitude forced over pie crust shards. But as I helped Eva to the guest room, really wheeling the drip stand disguised as a walker, Mom pulled me aside in the hall. Breath, whiskey sweet. Thank you.
Doctor. But.
That text. It said you were part of it. A setup. My pulse hammered. A setup? By whom? She shrugged, eyes glassy. Doesn't matter. Family first. Right?
Right.
But as she tottered away, I glimpsed her phone screen, The sender's ID. Harlan's husband. Elena had a husband? The prick from her memories, yes. Victor. The quant trader who'd cheated with his assistant. Left her drowning in alimony threats. But why text mom? Pay off? Blackmail? The swap's edges frayed. Headaches pulsed. Her. Vision blurring at the corners. Upstairs. Tucking me into bed, I whispered to the empty vessel. Hang on. Eva. Almost free. But freedom's a relative term when your soul's on loan. And the lender's calling in favors you never agreed to. Pumpkin pie crumbs still dusted the carpet when the Real storm broke, not the rain outside, but the kind that shatters illusions, leaving shards sharp enough to draw blood without breaking skin. I'd retreated to the powder room, splashing water on Elena's face, staring at the marble vanity like it held answers. Victor. The name slithered through her memories. Hedge fund hotshot. Weekends in the Hamptons squandered on coke-fueled yacht parties. The divorce papers she drafted but never filed. He'd sworn off her shrinking bullshit, as he called therapy. But Marcus's firm? They'd hired his algo for risk assessment last quarter. Connect the dots. Victor tips Marcus about the intervention. Gets a kickback for keeping Elena's indiscretions quiet. But the swap? That was my wild card. And wild cards make kings nervous. A knock, Dad. Swaying slightly. Doc,
Can we talk?
his voice, usually boardroom brass, cracked like old leather. I opened the door, ushering him into the cramped space, the air heavy with potpourri masking his scotch. It's about the money, he started.
No preamble.
Marcus. He didn't just take from Eva. He took from the company's slush fund. My fault, I signed off. Blind trust and all. Confession hung there, raw as an open wound. The patriarch, felled by his heir. Why tell me? I asked. Elena's clinical tilt. He rubbed his neck, eyes bloodshot. Because you're the only one who sees through the crap.
Eva.
She was always the smart one. Now look. He gestured vaguely toward the guest room.
Look.
If only he knew the looking was mutual. It's not too late for restitution, I said, planting the hook. Full disclosure. To her. Him.
Me.
Semantics in a mirror maze. He nodded, resolve hardening.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. After the bird's bones are picked clean, Thanksgiving tradition, gnaw the carcass dry.
Pretend the meat's not tainted.
As he lumbered out, I pocketed a spare key from the hook to the study safe, where Dad kept the family ledger, off-books tallies of every dirty deal from non-era bribes to the '08 crash bailouts. The evening dragged, a farce of normalcy. Football on the big screen, Lions getting pummeled as metaphor, laughter forced over refills. Marcus cornered me by the bar, breath mints failing to mask the gin. Clever. Elena. But you're in over your head. Victor's got dirt on you. On her. One call. And your license is toast. My license. I parried, pouring a finger of bourbon for show. Or Eva's freedom. Call it. See who burns brighter. He leaned in, cologne cloying. You think this swap's stable? Elena's been testing on rats, neural decay after 48 hours. You'll fry. Both of you.
Rats.
The casual cruelty, the power play, it ignited something primal. A growl rising in this throat that wasn't mine. I shoved him back, glass shattering on tile. 48 hours? Then make them count. The family froze. Forks midair, Mom fluttered over. Boys, I mean, oh God. While Lydia herded us to cool off, Marcus stormed upstairs, slamming the den door. No. The study.
Opportunity. You waited
Then slipped up.
key cold in palm.
The study was dark. Safe ajar. He'd gone for the ledger. Papers rustled. I froze in shadow. His voice, low on speaker. Victor. It's me. The shrink's compromised. Pull the plug on the payout till I handle it.
Pause.
Laughter.
Tinny.
Yeah. The sister's a vegetable, easy cleanup. But the doc? She's got the tapes. Wire the hit quiet. Like that intern last year. Hit. The word landed like a gut punch. An intern? Elena's memories flickered. Vague. A suicide she dismissed as burnout. Victor's doing? For what? Whistleblowing on rigged trades. My hands, her hands, trembled. This wasn't just family feud, it was syndicate-level rot. Marcus's ethical AI, a front for laundering. Victor the money man. I backed out silent. Heart hammering.
Clean up.
They meant me, us. Time to accelerate. Downstairs, I gathered the troops under pretense of group exercise, a trust fall circle in the living room. Bodies linked like dominoes. Feel the support, I intoned. Elena's mantra twisted. One by one, they fell back into truths. Dad first. I covered the Dubai scam. Eva took the fall to protect the name.
Gasps.
Lydia. I knew about the pills in her wine, to calm her for the raid. Jerry. Sheepish. I drove the getaway car for the auditor's bribe. Marcus watched from stairs. Face ashen.
But Mom?
She held. Eyes defiant. Your turn. Evelyn. I said. Voice steel. She stepped forward, falling into my arms, Elena's arms, and whispered. Hot against ear. I hired Victor to frame her.
For you.
Marcus. To secure your future. The circle shattered.
Bodies stumbling.
Betrayal's echo. Deep as a grave. Why? Dad roared. Advancing. She spun. Tears real now. Because Eva was always the favorite, the brains, the moral compass you doted, while Marcus scraped. I fixed it. For balance. Balance. The word curdled. I'd slaved for approval. Dad's nods my oxygen. Only to be the sacrificial lamb for sibling equity. Rage boiled. But I reined it, controversial choice. Expose or exploit. Expose. And the empire crumbles. Innocence like Lydia collateral. Exploit? Turn Mom's guilt into a weapon against Victor. Marcus lunged at her. Fists balled. Brother against mother. The Oedipal flip. Dad separated them. Bellowing. While I dialed 911 on Elena's burner. Domestic disturbance. Possible assault. Send units. But trace to the house. Let the badges swarm. Truth serum for the guilty. Sirens wailed distant as the family fractured further, accusations flying like stuffing from a gutted bird. I slipped to the guest room, checking Eva's vitals. Pulse steady. But the machine's timer in my head ticked. 24 hours left. Victor's hit loomed. But so did reversal, back to my skin. This farce ended. A crash from below. Marcus. Tackling Dad over the ledger spilled on the rug. Numbers damning as sin. Mom screamed. Jerry filmed. Lydia prayed. Chaos. Pure American. The dream curdled into nightmare. Excess and entitlement birthing monsters. Then the text, my phone now. Elena's.
Unknown, cleaner est en route.
10 minutes.
Run.
Victor. But why warn? Unless. The intern. Elena's memory surged. She'd suspected.
Confronted him.
But he'd gaslit. Payoff. No protection. For me, her, the swap's bleed made it muddled. Headlights pierced the drapes. Black SUV. Unmarked.
Cleaner.
Heart in throat. I barricaded the door with the dresser, whispering to my body, fight. Damn it.
Below.
Fists and shouts crescendoed. Controversial decision. Arm myself. From Elena's satchel. The letter opener, not a gun, but sharp enough for intent.
Non létal.
They say, but intense the killer. The knob rattled. Open up. Doc. Boss says hi. Voice gravel. Midwest neutral. I grip tight. Mind racing plots scream. Drawing the family or silent strike? By time, the swap hummed. A warning buzz, decay starting. Nerves misfiring like faulty wiring.
Bang. Door buckled.
This was the climax I'd craved. But revenge? It's a mirror. Reflect what you fear most. The door splintered inward like cheap plywood. The cleaner filling the frame. Burly. Balaclava masked. A silhouette straight from a B-movie. But the glint of steel in his gloved hand was all too real. A suppressed Beretta. Whisper quiet for urban hits. Time dilated. Elena's fight or flight kicking in with yoga breath precision. While my Eva's instinct screamed run. You idiot. But running's for prey. And I'd been prey too long. He scanned the room. Me on the bed. For beeping soft. My stolen form cornered by the vanity. Where's the drive? Sweetheart.
Gruff.
With a South Side twang, Chicago-born. Like us. Twisted by the same mean streets that built Dad's fortune on Union busts. I brandished the opener. Voice Elena calm. Back off. Police are en route. Bluff layered on bluff. Sirens were blocks away. Swallowed by holiday traffic. He chuckled. Low and wet. Cops? On T-Day? They got turkey legs bigger than priorities.
Now.
The drive, or I paint the walls festive. Step forward. Barrel rising. Controversial calculus. Kill or be killed. No. Maim and escape. I lunged low. Opener slashing at his knee. Aiming for tendon. He howled. Staggering. Shot wild. Puff of silenced round punching the wallpaper. Feathers from the duvet blooming like snow. Downstairs. The melee halted, shouts turning to screams. Gun. Jerry's wail. High and panicked. Footsteps thundered up. Dad burst in first. Ledger in one meaty fist. Eyes wild. What the hell? The cleaner pivoted. Firing. Dad jerked. Crimson blooming on his shoulder. Crumpling against the jam. Time fractured. I tackled the intruder. Elena's lithe frame no match for bulk, but fueled by feral hate. Opener sinking into his thigh. He roared. Pistol skittering across oak. My hand closing on it cold. Alien weight. Training?
None.
But rage is the great equalizer. I fired blind, pop pop, into his chest. The recoil jarring bones not mine. He slumped. Mask askew. Eyes glazing on faded family photos. Us kids at Disney. Innocent grins. Dad groaned, clutching the wound. Eva stirred. Eyes fluttering, my eyes. Confusion dawning. The swap glitched. a static whine in my skull. Visions overlapping, my loft raid, Elena's wedding vows, Victor's sneer. Hold on, I gasped.
To Dad.
To myself. To this unraveling thread. Marcus piled, and next. Face a mask of horror, at the body. The blood. Me holding the smoking gun in his therapist's hand.
Jesus.
Elena, you shot him. Accusation lays triumph. His out. Pin it on the crazies. No, I started. But Mom shoved through. Phone to ear. Yes. 911? Shooter in the house, my daughter. She's daughter.
Me.
Or Elena. The line blurred as sirens swelled. Blue-red lights strobing the blinds. Paramedics swarmed minutes later. A blur of gloved hands and barked orders. Dad stabilized. Cleaner zipped in a bag. Eva, me, loaded on a gurney for observation. I stood apart. Elena's shell-shocked. As cops grilled. Ma'am?
DR.
Harlan? What happened here? Self-defense. I murmured. Handing over the Beretta. Mind spinning alibis. The drive. I'd palmed it in the scuffle. Tucked in bra now. A secret against skin. Marcus watched. Calculating. Mom sobbed over Dad's stretcher. Lydia clutched her cross. At the station, Naperville PD. All coffee breath and fluorescent buzz, statements dragged. I stuck to Elena's script. Invited for intervention. Overheard threats. Acted to protect. Victor's name dropped casual. The texts check her phone. Husbands involved. Cops nodded. Typing slow. But doubt lingered in their eyes. White lady with a shank.
Nah.
But the dead guy's tats screamed Mob Inc. Case climbing priority. Hours ticked, 6 left on the swap clock. Headaches pounding like bass at a South Side club. They released me with a slap. Don't leave state.
Document.
Back at the house, crime scene tape fluttering like sad party streamers. The family's ghosts huddled in the kitchen.
Untouched PM holding.
Marcus cornered me by the fridge. You think this ends it? Victor's got layers offshore. Untraceable. And you? Frying brain or not? Your accessory. Accessory. I laughed. Bitter. To your empire of shit? Call him off. Marcus. Or the drive goes viral, bored.
Feds.
That intern's family. His slap came fast, open palm, stinging Elena's cheek.
Bitch.
You don't know family, but his eyes, fear. The crack in the armor. He stormed out, tires squealing into night. Alone with Mom. Bandaging Dad's graze at the ER. Wait, no. Home now. Take out soup cooling, she broke. Victor approached me after the trial. Said he could disappear loose ends for a cut of the startup IPO. The intern? She found the laundering code.
Eva.
You were next if Marcus folded. Next. The word chilled. I'd been a ghost already. Haunting my own life. Why protect him? I asked. Elena's probe gentle. She wilted, stirring soup like absolution. Because he's all I have left. You, Eva, you were Dad's. Always judging. With your ethics and spreadsheets. Judging. The accusation stung. Truth in the venom. Had I pushed too hard? Moral high ground a pedestal for the fall? Dawn crept. Gray and unforgiving. I slipped to the guest room. Eva transferred back. Monitored by a nurse, bought silence with Elena's Amex. Her chest rose fell. My prison of flesh. The machine waited in the trunk. Smuggled from the office, reversal switch. One flipped to home. But home now? A body scarred by jail ink. Probation chains. Or stay. Wield Elena's power. Dismantle from within. Controversial. Mercy or massacre. I chose hybrid. Text Victor from her phone, meet me. Plaza Hotel.
Noon.
Bring cancellation. Bluff. But desperation bites. He arrived early, suit rumpled. Eyes red-rimmed. Reeking of last night's excess. The plaza's lobby. All crystal chandeliers and hushed wealth. Made him small.
Elena.
What the fuck? Marcus said. Shut up. I slid the drive across marble-top table. Coffee steaming untouched. It's over. No hit.
No leaks.
In return, you walk, but confess to the intern. Quietly. To her kin. He barked laugh. Confess? To a suicide? You're delirious, swap sickness. But sweat beaded. He knew. The decay, I pressed. You funded her research. Victor. Knew the risks. Call it off. Or I testify your trades. The hits. All tied to Marcus's wash. Leverage flipped. His empire teetered. Minutes stretched, then gnawed.
Done.
But you reverse.
Now.
Or I burn it all. Agreed. Back to her office. I'd Ubered the kit. The hum restarted. Needles pricking familiar.
Click. Darkness.
I woke in my skin. Heavy.
Tattooed. Real.
Eva again. But the mirror? Eyes harder. Borrowed steel. Victor's call confirmed. Payout killed. Confession wired anonymous. Marcus's board meeting? Leaks dropped. Stock tanking. Mom's texts. We need to talk.
Baby.
Family. Revenge tasted ash. Pyrrhic. The cost in blood, dads. The cleaners. In fractures, trust's corpse. But as sirens faded in memory, I smiled. They planned intervention. Got Armageddon. The reversal hit like a hangover from hell, muscles aching with disuse. Skin prickling where Elena's poise had masked the wear. My voice rasping first words in her office. It's done. She blinked from my old body. Groggy but grateful. For scars fading like bad dreams. Eva?
You.
You saved me.
Saved.
Irony's parting gift. I'd saved myself. Mostly. Carving a path through their rot with her blade. But freedom's fragile. Probation officer calling by dusk. Random check. Kensington. Be home. Home, the halfway house. Cinderblock and regret. Worlds from the McMansion's ruins. I cabbed there. The city blurring past. Magnificent mile twinkling oblivious. While Naperville PD's report leaked online. Thanksgiving shooting. Family feud turns deadly. Comments exploded. Toxic families. Mental health crisis. The internet's coliseum baying for blood or therapy. Mom showed at midnight. Rain slicked and desperate. Pounding the buzzer till the super threatened cops.
Eva. Please.
It's falling apart. Falling. Marcus's IPO scrapped. Board suing for fraud. Dad's empire audited to dust. Shoulders sling a badge of shame. Even Lydia. Selling her minivan to cover legal fees. Victor? Vanished to Cayman whispers. Confession a ghost email traced nowhere. I let her in. The fluorescent hall light casting her gaunt. Coffee. Black. No sugar, her habit. Not mine. We sat on the sagging couch. Steam rising like unspoken sins. It was me, she started.
No preamble.
The wine. The calls to Harlan. Victor's idea. But I pulled the trigger. Thought it'd toughen you. Make you fight dirty like the rest. Toughen. As if jail yoga built character, not calluses on the soul. Why confess now? I asked, voice steady, Elena's echo lingering. She laughed.
Hollow.
Because you're back. The real you.
Not that.
Puppet.
Puppet.
The word galled. I'd been more alive in that swap, wielding power like a loaded clip. But her eyes, regret's raw edge, cracked my armor. Controversial. Forgive. And enable? Or condemn? And orphan myself? I took the fall for all of you, I said, laying it bare. Dad's bribes.
Marcus's skim.
Your cover-ups. 18 months for family loyalty. The words hung. Indictment and elegy. Tears tracked her makeup. I know. And I'd do it again for him. Marcus. My boy.
Her boy.
The golden child. Rotten core. But in that moment, I saw the twist. Not betrayal's root, but love's perversion. The American dream warped into nightmare. Sacrifice the daughter for the son's ascent. The decision crystallized. No cops. No courts. I'd leak the ledger piecemeal. Let karma's slow grind pulverize. Go, I said.
Standing.
But tell Marcus, next Thanksgiving, I'm the one carving. She left at dawn, a specter in fog, and I slept dreamless. For once. Weeks blurred, probation hearings dodged with Elena's affidavits, her debt repaid. Sessions free forever. A new gig auditing nonprofits, irony. Policing the pure.
Marcus t'extasies a fires, sis.
Truce? Dinner? Deleted. Dad called. Voice gruff. Proud of you.
Kid.
Always was. Voicemail purgatory. Then the twist, the real reversal. Courtesy FedEx, a thumb drive. Labeled truth serum. Victor's? No. Elena's scrawl on the envelope. Postmarked her new life in Seattle. Tenure track secured. Inside, not just Marcus's tapes, but Mom's. A session I'd missed. Pre-swap. I didn't frame her.
Doctor.
She did it herself, the skim. To escape us. I covered to keep her safe.
What?
My pulse thundered. Backtrack. The Dubai fee. My signature. Yes. But desperation's blur after Dad's, or else ultimatum. I'd skimmed. Small. To bolt new life. No Kensington chains. Mom found out. Flipped it. Pinned bigger theft on me. Fed to Marcus for his launch. Victor for muscle. Self-fulfilling sabotage. My crime birthing theirs. The mirror lied. I'd been villain too. Moral high ground quicksand. Rage deflated to ash. Revenge a circle. Biting tail. Debatable end. Expose. And I'm monster with them? Bury. And grace a lie? I chose fire. Drive to the shredder. Sparks flying like phoenix feathers. No happy ever. By tragic. Us all scarred. Debating in silence who pulled first trigger. But Thanksgiving 26? I'll host. Turkeys stuffed with truths. Family invited or not. Gratitudes earned. Cold and carved. And in the quiet, Elena's voice echoes. Recalibrate.
Eva.
Empathy's the real swap. Maybe. Or maybe it's just survival. American as apple pie and loaded guns under the table.